Welcome to Leadership Podcast. My name is Jun, and I am a student here at UWC ISAK Japan. Today, I am interviewing Mr. Osorio, who works in the English department, to find out more about them and what motivates them to help our community. Mr. Osorio, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
What brought you to UWC ISAK Japan?
So before I worked as a teacher, I worked in advertising, and I had discovered that while I found the creative aspects of those works really satisfying, I didn't feel like I was doing a lot of good for the world. And as I decided to become a teacher, I realized that I felt I could make a good difference and an impact teaching in international schools just because I had experience with that in the past. As I learned more about UWC's missions and their values, it became clear to me that that was something that was in line with my goals, and I applied and was accepted at UWC Changshu, China. Eventually, I made my way to ISAK, and I've really enjoyed my time here.
What is the most rewarding moment here at UWC ISAK Japan?
I'll give you two parts to this answer. The first part being more general, and the second one being a specific example. The most satisfying thing for me as a teacher here at UWC ISAK Japan is seeing my students engage and become passionate and start things, do things on their own. I don't want to say on their own, but to be motivated to pursue things without me having to push them or to really engage with them. I like seeing students engage, and it's very rewarding for me to see a student do well in something that they're passionate about. So one example that comes to mind immediately is a student that I've been working with who submitted their extended essay and they were very, they chose a topic that was interesting for them. They were writing about storyline structure and language use in video games, and seeing the work that they put into it, seeing them go from the growth that went into it and seeing the final product of that effort was really rewarding for me. I was really satisfied to see that the student, they produced something good, something really exciting, something interesting to read, something original based on their interests. And that for me is that's what I find really satisfying. So I won't say that that's the most rewarding thing, but that's an example of what I find very rewarding here.
Here in UWC ISAK Japan, creativity is also one of the important values. Could you explain a time when you challenged an old convention and launched an innovative idea?
Sure. So one of the problems I have found often that creativity, it comes from a need and from a problem, and it comes from searching for a solution to that problem. When I first arrived here, I've found that students in boarding schools in general tend to struggle with sleep and getting enough sleep. And so when I got here, I saw that was the case as well. And I developed a sleep seminar that I still present to students every year that focuses and it educates students on sleep, gives them some strategies, and helps them, hopefully, it helps shift the culture a little bit around sleep. I can't say that I'm 100% successful because I know that many students still don't get enough sleep, but doing that every year, doing that sleep seminar, getting students involved, and the comments I get from students afterwards of gratitude and how, oh, this really changed the way I think about sleep, and now I need to prioritize it. That's a problem that I saw, and I addressed it, and so far I've seen success with it. There's still work to be done, we'll say, but yeah.
Why was student sleeping specifically important to you?
I think it has to do with, as a teacher, I have a few philosophies that I tend to govern my choices as a teacher by. One of them is helping students to discover their passions, which I mentioned earlier. But another one of my things that I really think is important for me as a teacher to emphasize with my students to help them learn and grow is to discuss what it means to live a healthy and balanced life. And for me, that's something that I put a lot of emphasis on in my class and outside of the class, is how do you live a balanced, healthy life, not just now, but in the future going forward. And that's something that I'm really passionate about. For my students, I find that one of the reasons that oftentimes your lives go so out of balance is because you're not getting enough sleep. And when you're not getting enough sleep, everything falls apart. You're just not able to perform as well. You're not able to control yourself as well. And life is just a lot harder. So I identified that need specifically. Hey, if I want to help students live more balanced life, there are a variety of things I do and talk about. But sleep was one of those that I thought, hey, I have some experience there because of the class I took in university, and I can really help the students on a big scale change their mindset about sleep to make it something they focus.
As a member of UWC ISAK Japan, what is a need that you have identified on our campus or the Karizawa community?
Really, it just comes down to helping students with their mental health, and the way that need that I've seen with the getting enough sleep is something that I've tried to address.
What would you want to contribute in the future to make our school a better place?
Yeah, something that I think we could really, I would like to see, I would like to be more involved with some sort of life skills class, looking at, I know the leadership program talks about a lot of these things. I know that the residential program does a lot of these things, but I think that helping students develop a healthy mindset and a balanced mindset for moving forward in the world. We live in a world where there's a lot of pressures to be like an extremely hard worker, to be successful, and I agree with those things, but I think that sometimes the things that people associate with those things are not healthy. And helping to identify healthy lifestyles and help students develop those healthy lifestyles is something I'd like to be more involved with moving forward.
I want to thank Mr. Osorio for being on the show. I appreciate it. And to our audience for listening. Please don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends. See you next time.